Hello everyone, I'm Mrs. Bearden. I'm a librarian for St. Tammany Parish Schools. Thanks for joining me today. Today our story is going to be A Fine, Fine School by Sharon Creech. The reading was inspired today by one of the first grade teachers that I work with. Her name is Miss Pleasant. And Miss Pleasant is a wonderful teacher and absolutely loves her first graders. And one day she checked up on them. And after she did, she made a Facebook post that was very moving. And I got permission to share it with you. It says, "Today I checked in with my parents, not to see if they were reading or doing math, just to see how they were holding up, just to get some pictures of my students. It was nothing short of amazing, the things they sent. These kids are fishing, catching alligators, cutting grass, cooking dinner, picking eggs, learning to ride their bikes, losing their teeth, and so much more. One student already has a name for his lawn service. This reminds me of a lesson I taught on A Fine, Fine School. We talked about how school is not the only place you learn lessons. You need so much more than school. The kids and parents are learning together and creating memories." And without further ado, A Fine, Fine School. The book is written by Sharon Creech and the pictures are by Harry Bliss. Mr. Keene was a principal who loved his school. Every morning he strolled down the hallway and saw the children in their classes. He saw them learning shapes and colors and numbers and letters. He saw them reading and writing and drawing and painting. He saw them making dinosaurs and forts and pyramids. "Oh," he would say, "aren't these fine children? Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school?" Near Mr. Keene's school, Tilly lived with her parents and her brother and her dog Beans in a small house next to a big tree. On Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. At school, Tilly learned her shapes and colors and numbers and letters. Sometimes, when she saw Mr. Keene standing in the hallway, he waved. "Aren't these fine children?" he said to himself. "Aren't these fine, fine teachers?" Say it with me. Isn't this a fine, fine school? On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, Tilly climbed her favorite tree. You can see up here, there's a speech bubble that says, "I'm stuck, get help." And she took Beans on walks and threw him sticks. The speech bubble says, "Let go now, Beans." And she pushed her brother on a swing and tried to teach him how to skip. This speech bubble says, "Be one with the skip." But on Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Beans and her brother did not like to see her go. "Hurry, hurry, hurry home," her brother called. One day, Mr. Keene called all the students and teachers together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Saturdays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go up to school on Saturdays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers, of all the learning they were doing every day. And so that Saturday, Tilly set off to school. "But it's Saturday. What about the swings?" her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keene announced, "This is such a," ready, "fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Sundays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Sundays, But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning that they were doing every day. And so, that Sunday, Tilly set off for school. But it's Sunday. What about the skipping, her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together and said, "This is such a," you ready? "Fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on holidays too, on Easter and Ramadan and Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah, on all the holidays on every calendar." I know. I don't think I like it either. The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on holidays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so on Christmas, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Christmas! What about Christmas?" her brother called. Could you imagine going to school on Christmas? The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together and said, you ready? "This is such a fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school in the summer. All summer long, every day." "How much will we learn?" he said. "We can learn everything. We can learn all about numbers and letters and colors and shapes, the Romans, the Egyptians, and the Greeks. We will learn about dinosaurs and castles and everything. We will learn everything." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays and all summer long, every single day. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers of all the learning they were doing every day. And so, on the first day of summer, Tilly set off for school. "But it's summer! What about summer?" her brother called. And that day, Tilly went to see Mr. Keene. She stood in his office in front of his desk. You're not going to believe what he said. Yep, you guessed it. "What a fine school this is," Mr. Keene said. "What amazing things everyone is learning." "Yes," Tilly said, "we certainly are learning some amazing things." "A fine school," Mr. Keene said. But Tilly said, "Not everyone is learning." "What?" Mr. Keene said. He looked very worried. "Who isn't learning? Tell me, and I will see that they learn." "My dog Beans hasn't learned how to sit," Tilly said, "and he hasn't learned how to jump over the creek." "Oh," Mr. Keene said. "And my little brother hasn't learned how to swing or skip." "Oh," Mr. Keene said. "And I," she said. "But you go to school," Mr. Keene said, "to our fine school." "True," Tilly said. "But I haven't learned how to climb very high in my tree, and I haven't learned how to sit in my tree for a whole hour." "Oh," Mr. Keene said. That day, Mr. Keene walked up and down the halls, looking at the children and the teachers. Up and down he walked, up and down. The next morning, Mr. King called everyone together. The children and the teachers were very worried. Mr. King said, "This is a fine, fine school with fine, fine children and fine, fine teachers. But not everyone is learning." The children and the teachers were very, very worried. Mr. King said, "There are dogs who need to learn how to sit and how to jump creeks." What did he mean? Was he going to make their dogs come to school? "There are little brothers and sisters who need to learn how to swing and how to skip." What did he mean? Was he going to make their younger brothers and sisters come to school too? The children and the teachers were very, very, very worried. And you, all of you, children and teachers, you need to learn how to climb a tree and sit in it for an hour, Mr. King said. The children and the teachers were very worried. See, they're imagining what it would look like up in the trees. See him down there. The principal saying, 20 minutes to go. See them all in the tree. So here they are at the meeting. And he says, "And so from now on, we will not have school on Saturdays or Sundays or holidays or the summer." A huge, enormous, roaring cheer soared up to the ceiling and floated out the window so that everyone in the town could hear the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teacher shout 3 times, "Fine! Fine! Fine!" And the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teachers lifted Mr. King up, and they carried him down the hallway and out the doors and through the town, up and down, in and out. And everywhere they went, the people said, "What a fine, fine school with such fine, fine teachers and fine, fine children and a fine, fine principal." The end. So just like Miss Pleasant said, school is not the only place you learn lessons. You need so much more than school. The kids and parents are learning together and creating memories. And on that note, using a fine, fine school as an example in Miss Pleasant's Facebook post, I want you to create something. I want you to create a primary source. Now, if you don't know what a primary source is, it's a first-hand account of something that has happened by keeping a diary, a recording, audio recording, or pictures. And so my request for you is to write a list of things that you do when you're not physically in school, but things that you're learning at home, because home is a school zone too. You learn there as well. And remember, if you do start keeping a diary or a journal, keeping your own primary source, take a picture of yourself or a video of yourself with what you've created and go to stpsb.org, and there are 3 ways listed in which you can submit it so that we can see exactly what you are doing. We are so excited that you're watching these videos, and if you like them, don't forget to keep watching at STPPS TV or on our website at stpsb.org. Remember, keep learning and keep reading. And now a message from my puppy, Burrow. Burrow says, keep learning and keep reading. Right, Burrow?